Well, good afternoon, guys. It is December 19th, and I am currently off trail in what I called earlier this year my favorite mountain brush forest in the Wasatch. Of course, it is winter time, and we can now see just how unwintery this exact area is. I mean, look at it. There's no snow on the ground on this somewhat north-facing slope. So by now, you definitely expect there to be snow piled up because there's probably been at least one heavy snow, but there's not been really any snow that's stuck below 5,000 feet in elevation, as far as I'm aware. I mean, the mountains got a little bit of snow, it seemed like, but it all melted off pretty quickly, so only the highest parts of the mountains have snow left. I know the skiing's been terrible, which, if you guys ski, I'm sorry for you, but otherwise I don't really care that much. I'm more concerned about how the lack of snowfall and lack of snowpack that we're likely going to have this year is going to affect water availability next year and the Great Salt Lake and the plants and animals that have to live up here. But yeah, the skiing's not been great. And the forecast from here out appears to be more of this unseasonably warm weather, but will be rather precipitous. So we're not going to get snow, but likely be a rather rainy Christmas and late December. But either way, just as before, we got the same tree species growing here, mostly Acer grandidentatum, the canyon maple or bigtooth maple, and Quercus gambelii, the Gambel Oak. Two species I talk way too much about, I feel like, but they're just so easy to access, so I end up doing it a lot. Oh crap, is that Myrtle Spurge over there? I'm about to investigate that. Just a little bit of green I see between the branches here. Either way, these two species are both what might be called marcescent to varying degrees. The maple species definitely much more marcescent, as you can see. If you're wondering what marcescence is, that means a tendency for trees to hold on to their dead leaves. It can happen a lot of different ways, but mostly temperate trees just do it through winter for various reasons, perhaps just to protect their new buds. So they're also going to fall off when they try and grow new leaves, but for now, we're holding on tight to them. And the Gambel Oak does it a little bit. I mean, sometimes they seem to really hold on, but not these ones here, just a few leaves, so they're still pretty easy to tell apart. You can just look at the branching structure because Acer grandidentatum always has opposite branches like basically most maples do, and Quercus gambelii does not. But I want to go down there and see if there's actually Myrtle Spurge growing, because that would be really unfortunate if it was. I'm not going to be able to deal with it all. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's definitely Myrtle Spurge. I don't want to go much further because, well, this is what's at my feet right now. It's a bunch of branches. But yeah, that's a really bad infestation. It's likely going to continue to spread up here and ruin this nice mountain brush forest that I love so much. There's a little bit of Berberis or Mahonia repens, however, so I mean, it's not going to stand up against the invasion, unfortunately. Let's get back onto the trail. There's a few more things I want to show you and talk about. One of which being the fact that I'm now up to 300 subscribers, so I'm really thankful to all of you guys that decided to subscribe to my channel. I'm not sure I would even subscribe to my channel if I found it. I like to think I'm doing a good job, but I'm really not so confident in my work sometimes. I'm actually technically up to 304 by now. And I'll probably be a little bit more when I finally upload this video, who knows for sure. Until then, just again, thanks to our 300 subscribers, my goal is to try and get at least double that number next year, so either 600 or maybe, I don't know, 610, 620, at least, whatever is going to be double the number by the end of the year, or maybe just 600, but once again, one more time, thank you all. Anyways, see some of the classic dead versions of plants I showed you in that last video. This is Wyethia amplexicaulis. It's big, flat brown leaves. It tends to emerge a little bit later than its close relative Balsamorhiza sagittata that we see around here. And just look how much of them there are growing amongst these. They seem also like the shade a lot more than Balsamorhiza sagittata. Very cool, very similar plants. I like both of them a lot, and my best videos was on how to tell them apart. So I recommend you guys watch it if you're interested. Of course, there's also here some specimens of the Erythronium grandiflora, still standing strong, probably because they haven't been flattened by the snow yet. I mean, this is pretty flimsy. But being able to spot these things is a good skill if you're a forager, because most of the sort of perennial bulb plants you want to get right into springtime before they really have much significant growth, because that means they haven't burned up much of their sugars into building the starchy, or not starchy, but sort of fibrous, cellulose composed above ground portion of the plant that they use to do more photosynthesis and store more sugars down into the bulb, and also just create the flower stalk to reproduce. Just some basic plant biology. We spend the first half of their growing season basically trying to just grow and burn up their sugars, and then the rest of the year trying to replenish as much as possible for stores. So that applies to like probably wild onions as well and other similar plants. But really there's not a whole lot to talk about here. As I know I say it a lot, but that's kind of true, just because it is indeed the winter time, as I said, and there's just not a whole lot of things growing here. Even in this unseasonably warm weather, we're just getting a few other things coming up, a few other invasives. And here's a better patch of Berberis repens I was talking about, looking very green and tall actually, which is pleasant. Got some unfortunately high ISO, but it's a really cloudy day. It's been overcast this whole week, and we're going to start getting more rain, which again, it's not so bad. I'm actually happy for the rain, but I just wish you could maybe get some snow and cold weather. I never thought I would say that before. Maybe this whole thing is making me really wish the cold, really miss the cold when I'm in the Gold Coast in Australia. That is still something I'm pretty much completely committed to. Still planning on going around May, and still planning on making lots of videos there. I think relating to my channel, I think it'll be a little bit slow until I go there, but I'll pretty much be able to make videos year round when that happens, because it's always pleasant weather and climate there, so plants can grow year round. But again, until then, you're stuck with this kind of winter botany crap. So I hope you guys like this video. I don't think there's gonna be much else I'm going to talk about, so I'll just give a very tentative thanks for watching, and see you next time. And I hope you enjoyed seeing my favorite mountain brush forest in a very different light right now. Oh, and one more thing before I go. This dead guy, or I should say dormant guy, is probably a Penstemon platyphyllus, like I talked about earlier this year, which is a species that is, I think I talked about, almost completely range restricted to the Wasatch Front and sort of the foothill areas like this. There's a couple of other records here and there. I know it's been found at least once in like the Uinta Basin. It might be found in some other states more commonly, but at least in Utah it's almost completely restricted to the Wasatch Front, which is kind of interesting because I think a lot of people don't expect range restricted species to occur right next to large metropolitan areas such as the Wasatch Front, but there's no reason why we can't. And in this case, it certainly is the situation. And also because it's rather abundant, despite being otherwise only found in the Wasatch Front. Like, it's not a rare plant at all here, at least along the Mount Olympus Trail. I think that also messes with people's expectations, because they expect super rare plants to be hard to find, but if you're in the right place, they're often very easy to find, because it'd be a pretty bad strategy to be uncommon and only found in a small corner of the world. But anyways, for now, for real, see you next time, guys. And one more final thing for real this time. Here's the Rosa nutkana I found growing rather low in elevation, because these are typically found only above like 7,500, 8,000 feet, at least around here. Normally it's Rosa Wyethia you find at lower elevations, as well in higher elevations, but you can see, well, it might be hard to see without my fingers next to them, but these rose hips are actually quite large. Oh my gosh. I gotta go get my camera lens cap now, but here. So I can zoom in on this for you, or focus it. That's a rather large rose hip, being about as wide as my finger is. Typically for Rosa Wyethia, it's about half that size, like 1/3 of an inch in diameter. These are more like 2/3 of an inch, which is a good way to tell the two apart. Their flowers and rose hips and other floral parts are larger in Rosa nutkana. But now for real, thanks for watching and see you next time.